we've decided to share the ocean with Iran. We've given them the bottom half. We've damaged or sunk over 120 of their Navy ships, with battle damage assessments pending for many more. Their surface fleet is no longer...
Ladies and gentlemen, we begin this breaking coverage with a serious and unprecedented development in the course of regional escalation. Circulating reports indicate that Iran has launched 2 ballistic missiles toward the U.S. base at Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, an action considered the first of its kind in terms of geographic range and the nature of the target. At this moment, there is no confirmed information regarding casualties or damage within the base. However, the mere occurrence of such a strike opens the door to an entirely new phase of confrontation, one that extends beyond the regional scope into long-range strategic dimensions. Diego Garcia is not just an ordinary military installation. It is one of the most critical U.S. bases in the world, serving as a vital hub for air and naval operations in the Indian Ocean, and a primary launch platform for long-range strategic bombers. What makes this development even more alarming is the vast distance separating Iran from this base, estimated at approximately 4,000 kilometers. This raises serious questions about the type of missile used and its actual capabilities. Preliminary data suggests the possible use of an advanced, previously undisclosed version of the Sigil missile, potentially referred to as Sigil 3, a hypothesis now gaining traction in military circles, given that no officially declared Iranian missile is known to reach such a range. If confirmed, this would represent a major leap in Iran's ballistic missile program, signaling a transition to a new level of capability, one that enables strikes far beyond the Middle East. This development carries not only military implications, but clear political messages as well. It suggests that deterrence is no longer confined to the region, but now extends to major strategic bases once considered out of reach. Military analysis indicates that launching only 2 missiles may not have been intended to cause widespread destruction, but rather to test new capabilities and deliver a calculated deterrent message without triggering full-scale conflict. Washington, meanwhile, is monitoring this development with extreme caution. Any direct targeting of its bases outside traditional conflict zones represents a significant challenge and places the United States before difficult choices between escalation or containment. Potential response scenarios range from reinforcing air defense systems to preemptive operations or strategic counter-messaging in other regions. At the same time, any direct response carries risks, including broader escalation, threatening global energy flows and vital maritime routes. This event also raises critical questions about missile defense systems and their ability to counter long-range threats, especially if advanced evasive technologies are involved. It may also accelerate the regional arms race, pushing other nations to expand their missile capabilities in response to shifting strategic balances. From an economic perspective, the impact may be indirect but significant. Expanding tensions into the Indian Ocean could threaten global shipping routes and increase instability in international markets. Analysts now suggest that this may be the beginning of a new phase of conflict, one not defined by direct confrontation, but by long-range power projection. The central question now is clear. Was this a limited signal or the beginning of a broader series of strategic operations? So far, there are no clear indications of immediate escalation, but the nature of the target and the distance involved make this a turning point that cannot be ignored. What we're witnessing may be a test or the first step in redefining the rules of engagement between major powers in the region. For now, all assessments remain based on preliminary and unconfirmed data, requiring careful and measured interpretation. We will continue to monitor this developing story closely, providing you with in-depth, timely analysis. Stay with us because the story is still developing and the full picture has yet to be revealed. And as this story continues to unfold, more technical and strategic details are beginning to emerge, offering deeper insight into the scale of this development. Military sources suggest that achieving a range of nearly 4,000 kilometers is far from a simple engineering milestone. It requires significant advancements in propulsion systems, solid fuel technology, and precision guidance during the terminal phase of flight. This strongly indicates, if current assumptions are accurate, that the missile involved, if anything has been confirmed, may be the result of years of covert development conducted away from official announcements, which would explain its absence from previously known arsenals. At this stage, experts are focusing on three primary scenarios. The first, a newly developed long-range variant of the Sigil missile family equipped with more powerful propulsion systems and a lighter payload, allowing it to extend its range significantly without compromising accuracy. The second possibility involves a modified launch platform. The missile may have been deployed from a naval asset or from a forward-positioned location closer to the Indian Ocean, reducing the effective distance required. The third, and perhaps most controversial scenario, involves a quasi-ballistic or highly lofted trajectory, allowing the missile to travel a longer path through the upper atmosphere before descending toward its target. Each of these possibilities adds layers of complexity and raises serious questions about the future of missile warfare in the region. Diego Garcia itself remains a cornerstone of U.S. military strategy. Its geographic position provides unmatched access to critical maritime routes stretching from the Gulf to South Asia and beyond. Any credible threat to this base represents a direct challenge to long-standing assumptions about strategic depth and operational security. In simple terms, distance is no longer protection. In Washington, discussions are already underway regarding a reassessment of defensive postures, particularly in remote and previously secure locations. This could include the deployment of additional missile defense systems, enhanced radar coverage, and an increased naval presence across the Indian Ocean. Initial reports also indicate that U.S. forces have elevated alert levels across several air and naval installations as a precaution for further developments. Beyond the military dimension, this event carries significant political weight. Targeting a distant base may reflect a strategy aimed at expanding deterrence without triggering direct confrontation within the immediate region. However, such signaling is inherently risky because misinterpretation or miscalculation could rapidly escalate the situation beyond control. The international community, meanwhile, is watching closely. The Indian Ocean is one of the most vital trade corridors in the world, and any instability in this region could disrupt global shipping routes, increase insurance costs, and place additional pressure on the global economy. In other words, the implications extend far beyond the military sphere. Analysts now expect a rapid diplomatic response from major global powers aimed at containing the situation and preventing further escalation. At the same time, some experts caution that this may have been a controlled test rather than the beginning of a sustained military campaign. Which brings us back to the central question: will official confirmation emerge clarifying the nature of the missile used and the intent behind the launch? Or will ambiguity remain as part of a broader strategy of strategic signaling? In many cases, ambiguity itself is a powerful tool of deterrence. What is clear, however, is that this development marks a critical turning point in the evolving balance of military power. The coming days will be decisive in determining whether this situation moves toward de-escalation or gradually intensifies, reshaping strategic dynamics across the region and beyond. We will continue to follow every development, providing you with accurate, in-depth, and timely analysis. Stay with us because the story is still developing and the full picture has yet to be revealed.